You might be looking at the title and wondering what I'm on about, as surely thinking about your climbing critically is a good thing and is the way to improve. This is absolutely true, but at the same time, there are times where turning your brain off is the best strategy. To explain what I'm talking about, I want to take an example which I've certainly experienced a couple of times, and you also might have, where your first try or your on-site try of a climb is your best try. You might have had an experience like me where on your flash go, you stick the crux of the boulder and you nearly top out the whole thing, but then you don't do as well on subsequent tries. There's a phenomenon around the idea of flow state that explains this. On your on-site attempt, you don't have any preconceived notions about the holds or moves on the route or boulder, and therefore you simply move your body. This can mean that some baggage, or what you can think of as a metaphorical weight vest, is eliminated on your on-site attempt, letting you climb more intuitively and more efficiently than otherwise. Don't get me wrong, I don't believe rock climbing should be purely intuitive, and I do think it's really important to critically analyze the way you move on rock or on the wall. However, the time to do this is while you're sitting below a climb, not while you're actively climbing. And I think if you get into the habit of thinking while you're climbing, it can make you mess up as you're paying attention to the thoughts in your head rather than the move immediately in front of you. When you're listening to your brain instead of your body while you're on the wall, it can definitely make you mess up. And I think by not doing this, we can get closer to the elusive flow state that everyone talks about. When people talk about the flow state or the zone, they're talking about a state where your body's moving by itself rather than relying on your mind to manually and clunkily control it. It is in this state in which our hardest descents happen. This idea is really relevant not just for that little analogy I talked about the flash tries, but also projects as well. As we spend so much time on the mats looking at our projects and thinking about all the tiny little micro beta details, we very much use our prefrontal cortex and manually process information when we're thinking about how to best do a project. However, it's wrong to assume that the same thing needs to happen while we're actually climbing on the project. The time to hyper-analyze every move is off the wall, and once you're on the wall, you need to trust that your body's learned all that analysis that you did and trust it and climb with intuition. A lot of pro climbers talk about how this exact idea is key for their hardest ascents, including Aidan Roberts and his ascent of Alphane 9A or V17.
The limitations I felt I had to overcome to more easily access flow was almost a bit of confidence and faith in my ability. I generally had a tendency to overanalyze and be quite methodical with and explicit with my thought whilst I was climbing, because I felt like that would mitigate random error, and I had slightly less faith in my body's ability to have learnt these things, know these things. And so there was a degree of trust that my body knows what to do.
If you're interested in a follow-up video about how you can actually learn to trust your body while on the wall and climb intuitively and efficiently, let me know in the comments.